Good evening and welcome to Columbus City Council's public hearing on our proposed amendments to the 2014 General Fund budget. Tonight, council members will highlight some of their key priorities for this year's budget. Before we begin, please be aware that tonight's hearing is being recorded for rebroadcast on CTV, Columbus's government television channel 3. The rebroadcast schedule is available at columbus.gov. First, I'd like to acknowledge a colleague who is not able to be with us here tonight, Councilmember Priscilla Tyson, who chairs our Finance Committee and led Council's work on this year's budget as she has in years past. While Chair Tyson would have loved to host tonight's hearing, she is home on doctor's orders recovering from an injury to her foot. I know I speak for all of my colleagues when I thank Councilmember Tyson and her team for their leadership through another successful budget process. The amendments we discuss tonight will continue Council's commitment to strong, safe neighborhoods, job creation, and preserving the high quality of life that we're so fortunate to enjoy here in Columbus. Council will once again utilize three key funds to invest in safe neighborhoods, job growth, and essential city services. The Neighborhood Initiatives Fund invests programs and services that protect neighborhoods, strengthen educational opportunities, and improve the quality of life for Columbus residents. The Public Safety Initiatives Fund supports the brave men and women in our public safety forces as they go forth in their mission to protect our community. The Jobs Growth Fund allows Council to support small businesses and invest in economic and workforce development initiatives. But just as we invest in our neighborhoods, Council has also been investing in our city's future for the past several years. As you remember, in 2011, council members offered no budget amendments and requested that the administration reduce the general fund budget they proposed by $1 million. In 2012, we set aside an extra $1 million to cover potential reductions in state revenue resources. That was more than 1/3 of the $2.8 million carryover that were available for council amendments. In 2013, with $7.5 million in carryover available as a result of greater than expected revenues and cost savings, this council set aside $3 million to increase our investment in the Rainy Day Fund. And as a result, we are well on our way to achieving our goal of having $75 million in the Rainy Day Fund by the end of 2018. This year, we're continuing to look to the future by placing a one-time state refund of workers' compensation premiums in the amount of $5.7 million into the Basic Neighborhood Services Fund. The fund is designed to prepare the city for unexpected future expenditures or decreases in revenue. And as we've discovered in municipal government in the state of Ohio in the last couple of years, you ought to be planning for those types of conditions. Before I ask my fellow council members for comments, I'd like our listening and viewing audience to know that we anticipate that council will consider and vote on the amended budget at our February 10th meeting. That said, at this time I'd welcome comments, first of all, from Councilmember Hearcel Craig regarding some of his proposed amendments.
Thank you, President Ginther. Let me first of all acknowledge your leadership and that of our Finance Chair, Priscilla Tyson, for shepherding through these important and comprehensive budget amendments that I believe will appreciably impact the fabric of our city and advance the quality of life for our families and our children. First, as the new chair of the Recreation and Parks Committee, and with co-sponsorship from my colleague, Councilmember Zach Klein, I am excited to offer three amendments through the Recreation and Parks Department that aim to help at-risk youth and provide meals to school-aged children during the summer. First, I am offering an amendment for $35,000 for late-night summer basketball in conjunction with the application for Purpose, Pride, and Success program, which has proven to be a well-regarded community-supported program. The 8-week program is geared to at-risk youth ages 13 to 18 and has been effective in reducing gang violence through mediation, along with providing mentorship, athletics, and educational opportunities. Next, I am offering an amendment for $75,000 for the Columbus Hockey Club that will focus on providing on-ice and off-ice opportunities for youth in the Central Ohio area. This partnership between the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department, the NHL of the Columbus Blue Jackets Foundation, and others have been providing year-long ice skating and ice hockey instruction for more than 27,000 participants. The program also provides off-ice programming for club participants in the areas of conditioning, academic support, violence prevention, and community service. The proposed investment will help assure the successful expansion of the program by providing additional staff and equipment resources. Lastly, in the area of recreation and parks, I am proposing funding in the amount of $200,000 for the summer food program, which provides sites where eligible school-age children can obtain 2 meals per day. Funding will allow the program to operate from June through August, serving approximately 150,000 breakfast meals, 340,000 lunch meals, and 25,000 snacks at 230 sites per year. As the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee, and especially being a veteran myself, I'm excited to offer an amendment for $100,000 to fund Operation Hope, a program for veterans and their families to assist them with identifying and overcoming barriers to self-sufficiency. Working with Impact, the veterans or family will be referred to various internal and external resources to begin to address issues that are impeding on their quality of life. Many of these veterans would be automatically referred to Impact for the City of Columbus Better Municipal Care for Veterans Housing Initiative, which I created to help veterans make home repairs so that they can stay in their homes. Next, I am offering an amendment for $50,000 for the Columbus Area Labor Management Committee, which promotes the development of high performance organizations through the joint participation of labor and management. City Council has supported COMC in the past to make strategic investments in projects that will ultimately create and retain jobs within the city. Finally, I am pleased to support the Neighborhood Best Practices Conference with an amendment for $15,000. This annual conference is a partnership between the United Way that provides the public with best practices to address community and neighborhood issues. I'm proud to work with my colleagues to make sure that veterans, families, and all Columbus residents have the support that they need. I am grateful to my colleagues for their partnership and their leadership as I look forward to the next steps in the budget process. Thank you for allowing me my comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. Councilmember Paley, would you like to talk about some of your proposed amendments?
Thank you, Council President Ginther, and thank your staff for their work on this budget amendment process, as well as Councilmember Tyson and her staff for the work they've done. I'd also like to thank Kate McSweeney-Bashadi and Brian Clark from our Legislative Research Office for their efforts. And tonight I want to briefly highlight just a couple of the amendments. One of my amendments is the Pathways to Central Ohio Engineering Program and for the University Community Business Association. I am pleased to see both Ms. Martin from Pathways and Mr. Hanson from the University Community Business Association and Council Chambers this evening. The Pathways to Central Ohio Engineering Program is one way to impact and strengthen neighborhoods through workforce development. This program provides a collaboration between corporations and our students in our neighborhoods. This program also provides the added benefit of providing a mechanism to keep the best and the brightest working in our city after college. Through weekly teaching sessions taught by engineers, volunteer engineers, I might add, high school juniors and seniors from Central Ohio schools learn about the wide array of engineering disciplines and career opportunities and possibilities from engineers who work right here in our community. Students will also learn about and can apply for various paid summer internships in the engineering field, and they can continue to learn and earn. This is the essence of workforce development. We are looking forward by training the next generation of engineers, and hopefully some of them will come work for the city, through this Pathways to Central Ohio Engineering Program by working with our neighborhoods through targeted workforce development. Next, I would like to discuss my amendment for the University Community Business Association. This amendment continues to empower small business owners, the lifeblood of our economy and our community. The University Community Business Association provides another link in the chain of strong organizations along the High Street corridor between Clintonville and downtown. This new funding will assist in two ways. First, the development of a new program to assist with the reduction of the homeless population through current partnerships with OSU, the Community Crime Patrol, and the Columbus Police Department. The Business Association will coordinate with area homeless agencies and will provide additional information about assistance available to our homeless constituents. The second part of the funding will be used to conduct a financial sustainability study. One of the goals of the study will be to provide a model for a stable financial footing for the University Community Business Association for now and into the future. Thank you, Council President Ginther, for allowing me to make a few comments regarding some of my amendments.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. My own amendments will include funds to support our ongoing effort to reduce infant mortality in Columbus. Every week in Columbus, 3 babies die before their first birthday. African American babies are 2.5 times more likely than white babies to die before they reach the age of 1. The Greater Columbus Infant Mortality Task Force is working to reduce both the overall infant mortality rate in our community and also the rate of racial disparity. I will be asking my colleagues to support an amendment to help fund this critically important work. In addition, I will be proposing an amendment with my colleague, Councilmember Michelle Mills, who will be chairing our new Education Committee, that continues the Mayor and Council's commitment to improving education in the City of Columbus. We must do a better job preparing our children for the bright futures that they deserve. I'd like to thank my colleagues again for supporting these important initiatives. At this time, we will entertain public comments and questions. Our first speaker on the proposed budget and budget amendments is Ernest Perry Jr. Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry, welcome to Council Chambers. If you would come forward to the podium, sir, and share your name, address, any organizations you represent. And, sir, you have 3 minutes to address Council.
Thank you, President Ginther. Again, my name is Ernest Perry. I represent Hands On Central Ohio. I'm the CEO, located at 195 North Grant here in downtown Columbus, Ohio. Here also to thank Councilwoman Tyson for her invitation to speak on this amendment, and also to thank her for her condolences in the recent passing of my father, and also to acknowledge the friendship that he shared with both President Ginther and Councilman Craig. Thank you both. I'm grateful and proud of the partnership that we at Hands On share with the City of Columbus. And because of your continued support, we're able to connect residents in need to critical services. Last year, we helped connect about 500,000 people to things that they need in this community, and about half of those people came to us in search of emergency food because there's a severe food security crisis in this city. We also know that 40% of those people who come to us in search of food, many of them through the summer feeding program, are young children, are also working members of this community, deeply engaged in the local economy, and having challenges making ends meet. For many years, Hands-On has provided community insights to the leadership and decision makers in Columbus, and so I'm happy to continue to do that for you here today and tell you a little bit about what's going on in our city. This year to date, we've seen the number of people experiencing food insecurity rise by about 20% versus last year's numbers. Again, I mentioned hundreds of thousands of Columbus residents are in search of food. What that translates into is about 150 people every day going without food, more than they did last year. There are a number of factors that contribute to this that you'll hear about in a little bit a later time from my colleague, Ms. Honeycutt. But policy implications at the federal, state, and county level are really challenging our community here in Columbus. We're seeing a reduction in the number of food appointments available across our food pantry network. And so across about 117 food pantries, there are about 13,000 fewer opportunities for people to gain food. And that's a really serious problem that we know will only continue to grow. The system is challenged at both the points of supply, access, and distribution. And so we think that this amendment is important because it will provide the beginnings of a holistic solution to the issue of food security and signal that we're serious about taking on the food security challenge in the city of Columbus. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Perry? Thank you for coming down this evening, and want to just acknowledge and pay respects to your father, who was a great man and did a lot of good in this community. And so want to continue to lift you and your family up in our thoughts and prayers. Very special person.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry, for coming down.
President Ginther, let me just take this opportunity to share with you how much we appreciate your work and your service, but certainly your father, with whom I had enormous respect and love and appreciate. And as has already been said, words are not adequate, but we certainly do hope that you will accept our deepest gratitude for the work of your father and our sincere prayers for your family.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Our next speaker on the proposed amendments, Yvonne Honeycutt. Ms. Honeycutt, welcome to Council Chambers. If you would come forward to the podium and share your name, address, and the organizations you represent. Ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
Yes. Good afternoon, President Ginther, members of the Columbus City Council. My name is Yvonne Honeycutt. I am the Executive Director of the Human Service Chamber of Franklin County, located at 2100 Alvis House, 2100 Stella Court inside of Alvis House. As always, I'm proud to speak before you this evening on behalf of more than 200,000 Columbus residents, families, and residents and families under the collective voice of the Human Service Chamber of Franklin County. As you may know, for months, the federal food stamp program known as SNAP has been vulnerable to additional federal cuts. The historic legislation recently just passed out of the House of Representatives on a bipartisan vote of $965 million, but it will cause a deeper food shrinkage for families currently struggling on meager supplies when it goes to the Senate. If the vote stands in the Senate, then we're going to see much more struggle with some of our families as they continue to think through how they're going to continue to provide food supplies for their families. Furthermore, the members of the U.S. Senate are debating, as we speak, to extend unemployment insurance benefits to millions of unemployed people to help with day-to-day expenses while they participate in full-time job searches. So what does this have to do with Columbus? Well, far too often, federal cuts create losses in the state, thus impacting local communities. The alarming issue before us is if people aren't working, they can't afford to buy food. When they can't afford to feed their families, they rely on human service organizations like our members, open pantries, shelters, and others for assistance. So along with my colleague Ernest Perry from Hands On Central Ohio, we are experiencing a high volume of requests for more food, more supplies, and more resources to feed people. 1 in 5 of our poorest residents in Franklin County are children. So think about those young people who just this week didn't have school. How were they fed? If they come from a food insecurity environment, a home environment that doesn't have stability and food resources, how were they fed just this week in the past 2 days? We are proud to work very closely with Mid-Ohio Food Bank, who also provides 300 food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and after-school programs, but we see the need continues to grow. One pantry reported just from October 2013 to January 2014 an increase of users from 328 to 529. That's just 3 months. Of those users, 84 of them were new families. Another pantry who reported on the average of serving about 200 families a year, their number rose to 325 last year. In a Columbus Dispatch article, Lisa Hamner-Fugit, who is the executive director of the Ohio Association of Food Banks, predicted looming cuts that were headed our way in this month. Well, we just learned this past week that those cuts are here. So we are anticipating a mass layoff of 36 Ohio companies, 7 of which are housed right here in Franklin County. So of course we know that with more job loss, slow economic growth means more increased services for food. So I've been afforded the opportunity to talk to you all about economic instability in our community, and I implore you at this particular time, as you think about economic and community investments in our community, that you would consider food pantries, after-school programs, and shelters for millions of families in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Honeycutt, for your testimony and advocacy. Any comments or questions for Ms. Honeycutt? Thank you for being here this evening and for sharing your testimony with council. Our next speaker is Damian Hardy. Mr. Hardy, did I pronounce your first name correctly? Mr. Hardy, if you'd come forward to the podium, share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Damian Hardy. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council. I come here today on behalf of Council President Darrell Peel, who is working out of the Cleveland office this week. I first would like to thank Councilwoman Tyson for her support, to Council President Ginther and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to give testimony this evening in support of the budget amendment to provide funding for the MBE Academy. OMSDC has over 40 years of experience in connecting corporate America to minority business enterprises. We are headquartered in downtown Columbus with offices in Dayton, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. We serve all 88 counties in the state of Ohio. We have over 200 corporate members, including Nationwide, Honda, Cardinal Health, Limited Brands, Turner Construction, Toyota, Procter & Gamble, Ohio Health, Cleveland Clinic, Rockwell, and Eaton. We have over 800 MBEs statewide. We certify, develop, and connect MBEs of all sizes and all industries to our corporate members in this region. We provide year-round training, development, and network opportunities that connect MBEs to corporate supplier diversity programs in the public and private sector. As a result, MSDC certifies MBEs in our region generated over $5 billion in revenue in 2011. This translates to over 14,000 jobs in the Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Cleveland areas. The MBE Academy provides a tailor-suited training and development program that cultivates and strengthens MBE business relationships in a day-to-day operation of newly certified and eligible non-certified MBEs in the city of Columbus. Each participating business goes through an operational assessment to determine the health of their business. The MBE Academy grows the competitiveness of these targeted MBEs by providing hands-on individualized training. This 12-month program helps participating MBEs grow their capacity through a curriculum focused on certification readiness, business-to-business sales strategy, strategic negotiations, industry-specific RFP response training, corporate and government procurement process and engagement, and business operational management. Corporate procurement professionals, large capacity minority business owners, and industry experts help in facilitating of the MBE Academy. Training and developing these small businesses helps empower them to grow their businesses and their marketplace. Ultimately, training and development of MBE small businesses owners helps them make more competitive and better equipped to create jobs in their community. For information on the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council, please visit our website at www.ohiomsdc.org. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy, for your testimony and your advocacy. Any questions or comments for Mr. Hardy? Thank you very much for coming down this evening. Our next speaker is Mr. Clarence Simmons. Mr. Simmons, if you would make your way to the podium, share your name, address, and any organizations you represent. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening, President Ginther, members of council. My name is Clarence Simmons. I'm President and CEO of Simcoe Construction. Thank you for having me here. My company, I'm a small, full-service construction company here in Columbus, Ohio, and we've had the pleasure of being in service now for about 5 years. And we have a passion for real estate development and construction here in Central Ohio. So it's one of the reasons I took the path to become an entrepreneur. And with that being said, it's been fulfilling. It's been great. The MBE Academy came when I was chosen this recently. It was a gift, actually, because what a lot of entrepreneurs and MBEs or just small business don't understand is that it takes training and development to keep that engine going. You can eat what you kill, but you have to continue to train, understand how to maneuver through the different paths of being a self-employed owner. So with that being said, the MBE Academy came at an opportune time for myself to continue. I'm in my 5th year, and again, the training has been invaluable. Understanding from industry experts like Kimberly Blackwell with PMM Agency on how branding and marketing is so important, and you have to do it. This past Saturday, we went through a training class with consultants that trained Fortune 500 companies on how to understand more Six Sigma training and lean. It was invaluable training for myself, and I had an aha moment during the training. It was one of the best 4-hour sessions I've spent on a Saturday so far. So with that being said, one of the great things I love about MBE Academy is that you can also talk and network with other entrepreneurs to understand what their techniques and things are. And also there are opportunities where I've already had the ability to work with a fellow MBE Academy classmate on a business venture. With that being said, I welcome the opportunity for MBE Academy to continue and further and grow and for more folks to get involved. Even though everyone wants to start a business or be involved and you have passion, you have to train and develop in order to be there, because you will not make it to the end of the race if you don't have that training and development. And MBE Academy is one valuable method that has been great for this entrepreneur and hopefully for others. So thank you for my time here. If there's any questions, I would love to answer those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons, for your testimony. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much for coming down tonight and sharing your thoughts about this amendment and the program. We appreciate it. Our next speaker is Linda Logan. Ms. Logan, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward and share your name, address, any organizations you represent, and you have 3 minutes to address council.
Thank you. Good evening. Nice to be here. Thank you for your continued support of the Destination Columbus plan that includes Experience Columbus and the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. I am the Executive Director of the Sports Commission and happy to report that 2013 was a very robust year for us, exceeding our room night goals by about 34% with some very big bookings. Some new groups and some repeat business. We also were able to get 12 new corporate partners, and we're up over 20% in our private funding, as well as appreciating all the public funding that's coming our way. We closed the year with a big announcement from Indianapolis that we landed 9 NCAA championships for years 2015 through 2018, so we were very excited about that. And just Tuesday of this week, we found out that we made the short list for the Women's Final Four, along with 6 other cities for either 2017, 18, 19, or 20. So we're well underway to a good start to the new year, and we couldn't do it without all the assistance and support that we get from all of you. So thank you again for all that you do for us and our destination. Okay. Any questions?
34% over goal is going to be tough to beat
Isn't that
this
tough?
year, right?
Talk to Brian Ross about that.
Any questions or comments for Linda? Thank you, Linda, and thanks for everything you do for this community. Thanks for coming down tonight. Our next speaker, surprisingly, is Brian Ross. So he gets to handle the tough question about 34% over performance. Mr. Ross, if you'd come forward to the podium, share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Brian Ross. I am President and CEO of Experience Columbus, and I just want to thank you, Council President Ginther, and Councilmember Craig, Councilmember Paley, and the rest of Council for all the support you continue to show us and our organization as we move into the future. It's an exciting time in our city. Experience Columbus and our 900 members appreciate the ongoing collaboration from Council. Our 5-year aspirational plan, also known as our Destination Columbus Plan, is finishing its first year. Linda showed some of the great results from the Sports Commission. I'm going to share a little bit from Experience Columbus. Council's support for that plan is helping us leverage private sector dollars as well, and our private sector contributions are up 16% year over year. Together, we're protecting long-term businesses and winning new businesses to our destination. Some of those new organizations are Girl Scouts of America, American College Professional Association, and the Association for Middle Level Education, just to name a few that chose Columbus this year. Our Make It Columbus initiative, which is a partnership with local companies, civic leaders, and universities, is getting results. We booked in 2013 over $90 million in economic impact for future years through this particular initiative. So we appreciate your support of this as well. We're currently pursuing over 267 groups or organizations representing over 618,000 room nights that are looking at our destination between 2014 now and 2021. So it is a long pipeline, but we have plenty of opportunities there. And we're also working with Columbus and our partners collaboratively to build the profile of our tremendous destination, not only locally, regionally, and nationally, but globally. City Council's proposed investments for 2014 will allow us to start a long-term national collaborative image awareness campaign that will begin in Chicago and Washington, D.C. We also will add another national salesperson to increase the accounts that we're working on the East Coast, as well as increased visits by meeting professionals and travel writers to experience our city. Also, I want to make sure that I acknowledge the amendment that Councilmember Klein has put through as well to help us compete with the national political conventions as we compete against Las Vegas, Denver, Kansas City, and other communities. Business serving our industry supports 61,000 jobs, and we know those jobs can grow. I want to thank you for your continued support. We look forward to your continued involvement in our organization, and I want to make sure that you do come to our annual meeting, which is on March 4th, Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ross, for your testimony. Comments or questions? Councilmember Paley?
Yes, I guess I'll comment on both Brian and you, Linda. It's so exciting to see both of you everywhere. You've really made a change in the city, and I thank you both for that. And I also want to thank you for the exciting collaborations with the arts community and making that part of the experience in Columbus. So I want to thank you both for all that you've done for the city. It's been a tremendous help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Councilmember Paley. Not only is Experience Columbus and their mission part of driving conferences and business activity to this community, but bed tax revenue also supports the human services and the arts community. And so there's an awful lot on your and Linda's shoulders, and I know you all are up to the task and appreciate the collaboration that's taking place with the Human Service Chamber, the Human Service community, the arts community, and the leadership of Experience Columbus and the Sports Commission. We couldn't ask for better partners and better collaboration for the greater good. So thank you for your work and commitment to that. Thanks for coming down tonight.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Rebecca Asma. Ms. Asma, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward to the podium, share your name, address, any organizations you represent. You have 3 minutes to address council.
Hi, good evening, President Ginther and members of council. My name is Rebecca Asmo, and I'm the executive director of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Columbus, and our administrative offices are at 115 South Gift Street. I was invited here today by the Department of Recreation and Parks to thank you for your continued support of the summer nutrition program operated by Columbus's Department of Recreation and Parks, and also to inform you of the ways that our community is using this feeding program as a launching pad to achieve greater impact for our kids. For many years now, members of the Boys and Girls Clubs, along with thousands of youth throughout the city, have benefited from the meals provided to summer youth programs and feeding sites throughout Columbus. But we all know that we need to do more. We know that many kids in our community would go without their basic nutritional needs being met if it weren't for the summer feeding program. What is especially exciting right now, though, is the way that our community is coming together to grow the food program, not just in size, but in the impact we are achieving. This summer, more than 200 sites throughout Columbus offered meals to young people through the feeding program. Many of these sites also participated in the Make Summer Count initiative, a strategy designed to combat summer learning loss, which is the key driver of the achievement gap between rich and poor people in our community and throughout the country. This growth and focus from nourishing bodies to nourishing the minds, bodies, and souls of our children is preparing our community for a great future. One example of this growth was the Boys and Girls Clubs Summer Brain Gain program. For the first time this year, Boys and Girls Clubs was able to monitor the academic progress of our club members who attend Columbus City schools over the summer. The results were remarkable. 86% of our participants experienced no summer learning loss, with 48% of our participants making academic gains over the summer. As we look forward to this summer, Boys and Girls Clubs is working with Make Summer Count partners throughout the city to leverage additional national resources to enhance professional development and program delivery strategies throughout our community. Now, this may seem a little bit off topic, but none of that I just spoke about would be possible without Columbus's summer feeding program and without the meals that we are able to provide to kids throughout this city at no cost. Without this program, we would have to divert resources from direct service programming, from staff, from materials and supplies to provide food for our young people that we serve, which they so need. So again, I would like to thank the City of Columbus and the Department of Parks and Recreation for their investment in this program and the kids who need us the most, especially as the program continues to grow. Great futures start here in Columbus, and they must be nurtured and fed by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asmo. Comments or questions? Councilmember Craig?
Thank you very much, President Ginther. Let me also thank you, Director. I think clearly there's an undeniable relationship between good nutrition and academic success. And the truth is, Genius does not have a zip code. So wherever our children are, we want to make sure that they have the kind of opportunity, the resources, and that means good nutrition. And for them to be successful and to be good citizens and certainly contribute to our city and our nation. And just the fundamental work that you're doing day in and day out to support our young people. Certainly invaluable, and we appreciate your leadership and your service. And certainly on behalf of Mr. Klein, as I accept this important position in Recreation and Parks, we're thrilled to have that collaboration with you. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asmo, for coming this evening and your advocacy and testimony. Our next speaker is Mike Watson. Mr. Watson, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd make your way to the podium and share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Councilman Craig, Councilman Paley, President Ginther, for having myself out here today. I come representing the Columbus Ice Hockey Club, 1189 Denison Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. You know, I just want to say first and foremost that when I look at the support that council has given to the Columbus Ice Hockey Club and the City of Recreation and Parks, I am very proud to report that we're doing great things with the individuals that we have in our program. Over the past 3 years, we have increased our enrollment over 30%. So when I say 30%, that accounts from in 2011, we touched the lives of 2,900 youth. In 2013, we're going to touch the lives of 3,900 youth. And with this amendment that goes through, we are positive that we can actually double the amount of youth that we touch in 2014. When we talk about what we've done and how we've been recognized and our partnerships that we have with the NHL, with the Columbus Blue Jacket Foundation, with the City of Columbus, you know, I can't be prouder of how we have come together and how we've been recognized on a national scale. As part of the Hockey is for Everyone initiative, we're considered one of the top 3 programs in the country. We're constantly held up as a model of how you grow from the grassroots level. We spend a lot of time investing in our fundraising model. We spend a lot of time investing in how we go and recruit members. You know, one of the greatest things is hockey is a very expensive sport. We've managed to keep our fees almost half of what you see at other local organizations. And we've also managed to give 40% of our members full scholarships for the hockey program. We have another 25% that are on partial scholarships. So when you think about the scholarship dollars that we reinvest in these kids, it's absolutely phenomenal. We also haven't had to raise our fees in 5 years. And I've developed a fiscal model where we think in the future that won't have to happen as well. Because what we've done is we've gone and we've created partnerships in the community. We've gone to our parent groups. We have subject matter experts across a variety of fields. So we don't have to pay for marketing and branding and technology expertise. We have those in-house and we leverage those members. And then finally, what I really want to talk about is the future. And as was stated here today, we see ourselves not only building kids for now and making them positive role models in their community, we also see them as potential employees of the city. And by creating this positive relationship we have with the city, with the council, we now have kids that when they do age out of our program, they want to go back and work in the recreation centers. They want to go back and be counselors in the programs. They want to go back and be role models for the kids in their community. You know, I can't say enough. I'm very proud of the support we've gotten from the city. And with this amendment that has been proposed, I think the amount of lives we will be able to impact is just going to be phenomenal. And the reason why I exist is the reason why we all do in this room is for the smiles that we are going to put on the faces of over 7,000 kids in 2014. Thank you very much.
Mr. Watson, thanks for coming down tonight. I learned more about the Columbus Ice Hockey Club tonight than I ever knew before. Pretty impressive work, and it's great that Ms. Logan from the Sports Commission is still here. One question that came across my mind, especially with the two of you following each other, is any initial thoughts, and don't mean to put you on the spot, maybe you all should meet and talk about leveraging the NHL All-Star Game that we will be hosting to try to leverage or benefit the Columbus Ice Hockey Club. Any ideas around, since that partnership already exists, how we can try to leverage that to benefit your club and the children that are part of it?
Well, the good thing, President Ginther, is that those meetings are already happening. We will be meeting with Miss Logan when the All-Star game was slated to come last year, but didn't come because of the work stoppage. We had been involved with the NHL. And the good thing is that Columbus Ice Hockey Club will have a significant presence at the NHL All-Star game, and we're very happy about that.
Because I wear two hats, I'm also on the Parks Commission, so have talked with Alan McKnight and others about what opportunities there are, and I think years ago we hosted the Willie O'Ree All-Star Game.
The skills competition, yep.
And what really set the bar for that event, that's also held as a model around the country. So I think there's just great opportunity to do things not only for the club, but for the community as well, for the kids. So we're excited to collaborate.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity to expose a ton of kids who would not necessarily be exposed to hockey, to have a special event like this to kind of flip the switch and have young people thinking about things otherwise that they wouldn't be exposed to. So, Councilmember Craig?
I just had one quick question. Number one, let me say ditto and outstanding.
Thank you.
Outstanding. But how do you identify the young people? What processes are you using to disseminate information to gather the young people? I'm sure it's perhaps through the school system. What other opportunities could it be through some of the faith community, through some of their programs or outreach?
Well, the greatest thing about what we've done is we continue to expand our reach. So, like you said, it's not only through, we work through the recreation centers, we work through our partnerships with the various programs. So, the City of Parks, Recreation and Parks has a partnership with After School All-Stars. So, we work with After School All-Stars. We have a significant technology presence. So, we reach a lot of our people through technology. And I'll be very honest with you, our product is so good and it's so well known that we now have, when you touch the lives of 4,000 people, now we have people coming to us because they believe in what we're doing. Because like I said, it's not only about the product on the ice, it's also about really building a holistic individual so that they can be a positive contributor in their community. And that's the thing that really has helped us get the message out. And as we continue to build partnerships, we continue to get our message out there, and we continue to have people come to us. And, that's why I said this amendment is going to be key for us, because the amount of people coming to our doors, we're going to need this to support them.
Well, I figured I wasn't putting you on the spot because the Sports Commission and the Hockey Club have been already talking and figuring out ways to collaborate. So
Absolutely.
Just another proof positive of great cooperation and collaboration, maximize impact for kids.
Yep.
So we appreciate your work. Thanks for coming down this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for sticking around. Our next speaker is Letitia. Is it Chastang? Ms. Chastang, welcome to Council Chambers. Please come forward to the podium, and if you'd share your name, address, any organizations you represent, and you have 3 minutes to address council.
Good evening. My name is Letitia Chastang, and I serve as the Director of Planning and Research for Impact Community Action. And on behalf of our CEO, Bo Chilton, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you on this important topic. The proposed budget amendment includes not only overall neighborhood improvement, but for those who live in them. Our veterans are included. As you know, Impact's mission is to reduce poverty by providing hope-inspiring help and real opportunities for self-sufficiency. I want you to hold on to the word hope this evening as I share with you about some information about our veterans in Franklin County. You may already know that the state of Ohio is the 5th largest veteran population, and Columbus, Ohio is home to over 110,000 veterans that have served our country, including CEO Bo Chilton, and I'm the wife of a Marine and Ohio Army National Guard vet. When our veterans leave the battlefield, they are left facing newly disabilities when they leave battle, a multitude of responsibilities, including their families, employment concerns, health issues, and even academic preparedness when pursuing post-secondary education. Operation Hope would be a program for veterans and their families to assist them with identifying barriers to self-sufficiency. To sum it up, restoring hope for our veterans and their families. Impact would use its wraparound service approach to assess and identify unmet needs of the veterans and their families in conjunction with the Better Municipal Care and Veterans Housing Initiative. Impact has begun to collaborate with Volunteers of America and other veteran administration organizations in Franklin County to make this program a success. While our country continues to recover from an economy, it is our responsibility as a community to take care of our veterans and ensure that no veteran is left behind. We also have a responsibility to provide realistic solutions to any reintegration challenges that they may encounter. Our veterans deserve the same opportunities as every other citizen at a meaningful career opportunities, the ability to support their families, and the opportunity to succeed as they resume their lives as civilians. This evening, Impact urges council members to amend the proposed budgets for these neighborhood priorities because with the support of the Operation Hope program, the true impact, no pun intended, includes stable housing for veterans and their families, improved family support and structures, improved access to services and immediate needs will be met, safe, vibrant, and healthy neighborhoods, property values to homes will increase, and restored hope. Many of these impacts can be achieved within the first 90 days with working with these veterans. Many of our vets thought that fighting the war was over, all to realize that it continues in their neighborhoods. As Impact and community action agencies across the nation recognize its 50 years fighting the war on poverty and celebrates its accomplishments, we know that our children, our seniors, our vets, our community still need our help. This amendment will help continue to fight the war on poverty, starting with our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chastain, for coming down this evening. Councilmember Craig, any questions or comments?
Thank you very much, President Ginther, Ms. Chastain. Thank you so much for coming down. I certainly want to give my best regards to President Chilton, and I want to thank you for your leadership and certainly the leadership of the President and the organization and all the good work. And as you said, for 50 years,
Yes.
This organization and like organizations have been standing in the gap. You've rightly stated, and I often say that's the least that we can do for our veterans. There are men and women who have served our nation, and when they come back from distant shores, we need to do everything that we can. And before then, I think our city is recognized, in fact, last year, as the #1 city in the nation for how we treat our veterans. And when they're deployed, we make sure that their salary is intact, that their benefits are intact. And this is another thing that we can do. As you know, we've been working for several years around the housing issue and the infrastructure, making sure that our veterans certainly have their homes, if they're in disrepair, that we're helping with that. This wraparound service will be making sure that we're touching the lives of them at the very base level. And so we're very, very serious about this. We know that this is outcome driven. We're looking to certainly work with Impact, who continues to do great work in our city with our families and children, and certainly with our veterans. This is a meaningful, important initiative, and not a program, but an important initiative in the lives of our veterans. So thank you for your work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chastain, for coming down this evening, and recognize your whole family, because it isn't just the veteran who serves, it is the family of a veteran who serves. So thank you for your commitment and your family's commitment. Our next speaker is Clinton Bentley Sr. Mr. Bentley, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd make your way to the podium and share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Clinton Bentley Sr. I'm a member of Community Foundations. We operate out of the Central Community House. I briefly want to thank you, President Gunther, Ms. Paley, Councilman Craig, for y'all support of the Midnight Basketball Program. Last June, it was really, exceeding my expectations. Park and Recs did a fine job. Mr. Davis did a fine job. And the job also, we took surveys from other parts of the community that we were trying to see if you would, work into your amendment of 5 additional rec centers. And I just hope that on February 10th, when you vote on this, that you would take all that into consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Bentley, thank you for your testimony and advocacy, and appreciate you coming down this evening. Councilmember Bailey?
I want to thank you for coming down and for what you do for that program. As a former member of the Neighborhood House Board, I know how important that basketball recreation is for our kids, to give them something to do and to move forward with their activities, not only in the rec centers and the schools. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you do at Central, and I appreciate all the settlement houses. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Craig?
Thank you very much, President Ginther. I just want to say, join in thanks with Councilmember Paley for all the work you do with our young people. That gives them, they're not out on the streets.
Yeah.
It gives them something constructive to do, and while they're there, not just bouncing a ball, but giving them life lessons and building character, and I appreciate all that you're doing for our young people.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. Our next speaker is Ariel Martin. Ms. Martin, did I pronounce your first name correctly? Ariel Martin. Welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward to the podium, share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
Yes. Good evening, President Ginther and members of council. My name is Ariel Martin, and I'm from Pathways of Central Ohio Engineering. I'm located at 1500 East 17th Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43219. I'm here to speak on behalf of the students and the leadership team of the PCOE program. We would like to thank City Council, specifically Councilmember Paley, for sponsoring this amendment. PCOE is committed to providing a youth-focused engineering program within the Central Ohio community as a means of ensuring students stay actively engaged in school, focusing on academics, which will provide a smooth transition into secondary education, specifically in the field of engineering. It ensures students understand the engineering principles and its contribution to society. It helps them develop 21st century workforce skills and acquires engineering career and paid internships. With staff expertise, the continued guidance and support of the PCOE Advisory Board, and through your generous support, we are equipped to take the PCOE program to the next level of best practices, as well as expand the program, specifically to recruit and even more students from the Columbus City schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Any comments, Councilmember Paley?
I was happy to have the opportunity to meet you this evening, Ariel. I've heard so much about you from everyone in the program. And what a lot of people don't realize about this program, it started about quite some time ago, actually, and it was all really volunteer-based. There were a lot of engineering companies that didn't have young people with new ideas to join their companies, and what a great workforce development program Pathways is. But the biggest problem that we always had was we had a lot of volunteers and nobody to organize them. So I understand that you're doing quite a good job of doing that finally and making this program move forward to its potential. So thank you for making one of my dreams come true, which is keeping the brightest and the best in the city of Columbus. And thank you for what you do, Ariel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, for coming down this evening and for offering your testimony and advocacy for the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Our next speaker is Trent Smith. Mr. Smith, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward to the podium, share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, President Ginther and Councilmember Paley. My name is Trent Smith. I live at 308 West Park Avenue in Franklinton. I am the Executive Director for the Franklinton Board of Trade and also serve on the Area Commission for the neighborhood. I first of all want to start off by thanking Council for all of the support that you've given to our neighborhood in the past up to this point. But we have a lot of work ahead of us. And I started volunteering in the neighborhood in 2004. And I started working there as a employee of the Board of Trade part-time in 2010, and I just bought a house there in November. So my commitment to the neighborhood is all in. And while we have big development happening in that neighborhood currently, with the examples of Orange Barrel Media, the redevelopment of Cooper Stadium into the Spark Complex, and the Idea Foundry, which just had a groundbreaking a couple of weeks ago. There's many great things happening, but the thing that we need to continue to focus on and not take our foot off the gas pedal is with the small business development. There's a lot of retail space in that neighborhood that needs to be occupied somehow, and there needs to be someone to be able to direct that traffic and field those calls. And that is the job that I'm trying to do, but it's becoming increasingly difficult on a part-time basis. The Board of Trade has been instrumental in fielding those calls and telling the story of the neighborhood and encouraging this investment from these small entrepreneurs. We have submitted a request for funding for capacity building through Councilmember Klein's office. And our intent for those funds is to, first of all, have a full-time position, be able to enter into some branding and marketing efforts, establish an office space which will make us a much more credible agency for business owners and entrepreneurs to talk with, and also to continue our full-time advocacy of the small businesses that are currently there. That's something we don't want to lose focus of, is we're not just trying to attract new business, we're also trying to uplift the businesses that have been there and fought the good fight for all of these years. As well as the administrative type of work that we need to do, I want to continue and expand the hands in the dirt type of work that we have done in partnership with Keep Columbus Beautiful and also our friends on the Hilltop through beautification efforts, mainly on Sullivan Avenue has been our focus the last couple of years, but really it needs it all over. And everywhere I look, if we clean up one street or one block, the next one over needs it even worse than the one that we just got done with. So that work is going to be continued throughout 2014 and beyond. This work will impact economic development, neighborhood beautification, job creation, and neighborhood safety. It all goes hand in hand. As you beautify a neighborhood, you increase the safety factor of it as well. And I would just encourage you to take a look at that request and consider an amendment that would help fund our organization now and into the future.
Mr. Smith, thank you for coming down tonight and sharing your testimony and advocacy. There are some great things happening in Franklinton, but the best is yet to come.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate the partnership and the collaboration that's taking place with the city and the Franklinton Board of Trade. Any questions or comments for Mr. Smith? Thank you for coming down tonight and sharing your testimony.
Thanks very much.
Our next speaker is Matthew Hansen. Mr. Hansen, welcome to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward to the podium and share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Matthew Hansen. I am with the University Community Business Association. We're located at 2231 North High Street. Thank you, Council President Ginther and members of City Council for the opportunity to speak on behalf of UCBA. City Council's commitment to the association has revived UCBA, and where we provide support to our small businesses in the University District. We were able to leverage last year's funding to generate additional operational and programmatic support. This allowed us to implement our Clean Services project along High Street and help maintain our existing infrastructure. UCBA is also undertaking a study to understand our marketing and branding for the University District so we can promote our commercial district and our neighborhoods. City Council's budget amendment for 2014 will help us maintain traction that we gained last year. And we look forward to additional collaborations with the City of Columbus, our businesses, and our neighboring institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson, for coming down this evening. Any questions or comments, Councilmember Paley? And I think we've seen great return on investment with the partnership with the association. Look forward to continue working together to improve small business and economic development in your neighborhood.
Thank you.
Our final speaker this evening on the proposed budget and amendments is Ed Lentz. Mr. Lentz, welcome to Council Chambers. You'd make your way to the podium and share your name, address, any organizations you represent. And sir, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Ed Lentz. I'm with the Columbus Landmarks Foundation. We're at 61 Jefferson Avenue. It's been something of a long time. I last regularly appeared before council in 1988. At that time, I was the director of the Columbus Landmarks Foundation. And as Yogi Berra would say, it's deja vu all over again. I come to you today as their representative once again. The Columbus Landmarks Foundation was founded in 1977. For the past 37 years, we've been a voice encouraging the preservation of the built environment, the advocacy of good new design for the city of Columbus. We've come a long way since 1977. Columbus now has not just one historic district, German Village, created in 1963, but literally a plethora of others, beginning with Victorian and Italian Village in 1978. Many cities count themselves fortunate if they have 1 or 2 historic districts. We are the home of many, many. None of this could have been possible without the active support and encouragement of Columbus City Council. I come here tonight to thank you once again for that support and to congratulate you on the successes we have seen and look forward to working with Council future on projects of mutual interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lentz, for coming down this evening and sharing your testimony and all that you do in our community, even for people like me who are in the minority, who were born and raised in this community. Every time I meet you or spend any time with you, you do a great job of helping to teach us about our own history, a proud history, which helps to inform our present and guides our future. So thanks for all that you do to tell our story, help educate ourselves, which helps us to share our story with the rest of the country and the world. So thank you for what you do. Councilmember Paley?
I'm thrilled with the organization. It's one of my favorite things to do. I just recently hung a picture that I received at the auction at the Garden Theater of the Broad Street Bridge. So it is an educational organization that we're very proud to help and participate in. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Paley, any comments you'd like to make as we wrap up tonight's hearing? Before we conclude, thank you to all of our speakers who joined us this evening, and thank you for your engagement throughout the process. Before we conclude tonight's hearing, I'd like to thank my council colleagues, Mayor Coleman, City Auditor, Director Rakowski for their hard work and leadership throughout the budget process. The same goes for the dedicated staff on behalf of the mayor, the auditor, and all of our city departments. Finance Committee Chair Priscilla Tyson and her team, led by Hosanna Techie, have been extraordinary partners and leaders throughout this process, and we wouldn't be here today without their efforts. So thank you, Hosanna and Councilmember Tyson. I'd like to thank Council's Legislative Research Office, particularly Kate Pisciotti and Brian Clark, for helping us through this process. Finally, we want to thank the team at CTV for making these public hearings possible. Residents who'd like to learn more about the budget are welcome to contact Councilmember Tyson's office at 645-0854 or at columbuscitycouncil.org. With that, we stand adjourned.